So D288 is finally done. I got the evaluation back last night, and we're all good here. I passed it, but god damn, that was a tough course. I did not have a good experience with it at all. It was a big headache. So I'm gonna go over my tips for getting through it, and then just an overall overview of what to expect when you get to this course. So this course goes over Spring Boot, and you're given an Angular front end, MySQL database, and then you have to create the backend using the Spring Boot framework. Now, this course was really tough for me because that course builds on D287 Java frameworks. And in my situation, I didn't have to do Java frameworks, nor did I have to do advanced Java because I did the Oracle Certified Professional certification. And thanks to that certification, I was able to get those two classes waived, which is great. But in this case, it was bad because, again, backend programming D288 builds on 287. So hitting that course without having done the progression course, it was bad. It was bad. Um, it was really tough because everything came at me like a freight train. I had a lot of ground to make up, I guess. So ideally, you would take 287 before 288, but again, in my case, I got those classes waived, so I didn't have to do that. So starting the course, first I had to learn what Spring Boot was because I didn't know what that is. The Oracle certifications don't go over that, so I had to pretty much learn that from scratch. Um, so if you're in my situation in that case, the first thing I would do is hit up your instructor and be like, hey, I didn't have to do 287. Help me out. And my instructor gave me this webinar that went over Spring Boot, so it gave me a warm and fuzzy feeling about it. And then I had to refresh on Git because I haven't had to work with it in a while between studying for Security Plus, studying for AWS, and then a lot of these other courses. I haven't had to work with Git in a while, so I had to refresh on that. What I used for that, I used a video course. It's about an hour from Coding with Mosh. I'll link that in the description. Really good course on Git to get you up to speed. So I had to refresh on Git, and I had to refresh on a little bit of SQL as well, and specifically in crow's foot notation. So yeah, crow's foot notation. I had to relearn what that was, how to read an entity relationship diagram, and just get familiarized again with database concepts. So I had a lot of ground to make up. So this course was tough. It was really tough. But yeah, that was pretty much my situation. Again, I suffered a lot because I didn't have to do 287. But if you take 287 before, then you probably won't have as rough of experience as I did. So this is a performance assessment, and again, yeah, you're creating a backend, and then the assessment walks you through each task that the backend requires for full functionality. But you're creating an e-commerce website, and you pretty much gotta show that the website can take an order as well as add customers to the order form. So that's some basic functionality that you gotta have for it. Time to study. Oh man, I was grinding on this. I was spending at least, I think on my shortest day, at least 6 hours on this shit. I think at my highest, I think I probably spent like 10 hours on this shit. This shit was miserable. Just cause, I'd work on something and it wouldn't work. And again, because I don't have that foundation, I didn't have that foundation in Spring Boot, it was such a pain to work through those different blockers. But again, that was my situation. Again, I think if you took 287 beforehand, I don't think you'll be struggling as much as I did. But I was studying a lot, and it took me I started on the 20th, so it took me just about 10 days of just grind to get through the course. Yeah, strategy. So for strategy, um, so again, I immediately told my instructor, hey, I didn't do Java frameworks, so he sent me this webinar to get up to speed and everything, and then refreshed on Git, refreshed on crow's foot notation, entity relationship diagrams, and then the biggest thing I did, and again, this isn't going to be feasible for a lot of people, but what I did was I abused the shit out of all of those instructors. Like I made them do their job. So I would schedule an appointment in the morning to for help on specific blockers, and you only have a limited. Oh, that's one thing too. You only have a limited amount of time with the instructors. So you only have like a 30-minute time window because they have other appointments. So what I'd recommend for those appointments, before the appointment starts, have your front end up and running, have your back end up and running, have your database ready to go, have everything ready to go, so that when the appointment starts, you can just dive right in like, hey, this is what I need help on. Otherwise, you're gonna be wasting a couple minutes trying to get all that shit spun up because that appointment time goes fast. Anyways, I would schedule an appointment in the morning, and then after the appointment, I would continue working, and inevitably, I would run into another blocker. I would try to figure it out myself, but I wouldn't be able to many of the times. So I'd schedule another appointment in the afternoon around like 3, 4 o'clock. I'd continue working. I run into another blocker, and then this is where I used what I recently discovered was called live instructor support. So every day, 7 days out of the week, uh, excuse me. So WGU has a 2 hour window where you can talk to, you can get instructor help immediately on demand without a appointment needed. However, the caveat to that is that it's only a 15-minute window. So that's a catch. But there is that 2 hour window where again you can hop on to WebEx and get help immediately, no appointment needed. So yeah, I would have 2 appointments, like scheduled appointments in a day, and then I would also hop on the live instructor support. And I would make longer appointments for blockers that I was really struggling on, and then for the live instructor support, since I knew I only had 15 minutes, I would, you know, ask like easier questions, questions I don't think should be as time consuming. But yeah, I scheduled a lot of appointments, and some instructors are better than others. There's no doubt about it. So that's what I did for that. And then what mainly carried me for this assignment was Reddit. Reddit carried hard. I used two specific Reddit guides from former students to walk me through this, and both of them have their pros and cons. Both of them explain certain concepts better. So what I would do is I would cross-reference both guides, and like let's say like guide A doesn't explain something super well, so I'd go to guide B, see if they explain it better, and then vice versa. Another thing I also used was this Notion document, again that also walked you through a lot of the steps. I didn't get I didn't find that super helpful, but it was another tool in my toolbox. So yeah, I'll link all these in the description. I used two Reddit guides and then a Notion document, and then again just a ton of appointments because this was tough, man. This is tough. It was very frustrating going along this project, and yeah, again, those Reddit guides go into really good detail about all the quirks going through this project, all the little like um, loopholes you got to do, and they get into the nitty gritty of it. But this project's frustrating. I definitely do think you should be prepared to be frustrated a lot. But I'm just glad I'm done with it. So I turned in version control yesterday, so I should be in the evaluation back on that by Sunday. And then once I get that, I'll make a video on that. Now, as for overall rating, oh man, this course I'd probably give it. Mm, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 difficulty. The reason I'm not gonna say 10 is because I don't think the course in and of its like the concepts were all that difficult. I just think the performance assessment was poorly planned. So yeah, but 9 out of 10. This was a bitch. I did not enjoy this course at all. But that's my thoughts on it. There's a lot. Oh, also too, I forgot. Fuck, I forgot to mention this earlier. But you have the option of working in the lab environment versus working on your local machine. I chose local machine because it was a much better experience for me. But there's also a Reddit guide just specifically for that on how to set it up on your local machine. I'll also link that in the description. But again, I ran into a lot of blockers in this course, so too many to really go over in one single video. So definitely, if you guys got specific questions, let me know in the comments because there was a lot of specific situations that came up. But yeah, that's all I got for this course. Talk to you guys soon.